There's a wonderful way in which we can bring a stillness and a steadiness to ourselves, whether we're in the middle of a high pressure time or a super busy time. There's a way that we can be absolutely centered and grounded through and in that busyness. This is a technique that I absolutely love, and I've used it many, many times in my own life. It is known as the gesture of tolerance. And for those of you who will have read The Dance Between Joy and Pain, you will know this gesture of tolerance. I like to call it the gesture of coming into this present moment, because it very much brings me into the here and now. It's a gesture that I've used many times in the past, and it does exactly as it says. It brings us into that steady alignment, and we feel this enormous patience and tolerance that rises up within us, and then we're able to deal with whatever is happening around us with that patience. So let's begin by reminding ourselves of the different elements associated with the fingers. So first of all, we have the thumbs. Let's have a thumbs up. This is the fire element, and the fire element is super important for digestion and also for all the metabolic processes that happen in our system. But it's also important to understand the fire of the mind and the fire of our presence. I don't mean being fiery, but having that aliveness and that energy. The first fingers, the index fingers, is the element of air, and air moves. It goes from place to place to place, and it also represents how the mind can move quite quickly from one idea to the next, from one thought to the next. So it's really important to have that ability, that flexibility of mind, and also to have the ability to really focus the mind. So when we steady the air element, that's what it brings us. The middle fingers are to do with space, and space or ether pervades everything. So it brings us into this beautiful, deep connection. Connection internally with ourselves, with our sense of who we are, but also the connection with all of life around us. And then we have the ring fingers, and those are connected with the earth element. Now, of course, sometimes when the earth element can feel a bit stuck, we may feel a bit rigid or heavy. But when the earth element comes into balance, there's this wonderful anchoring and this sense of belonging that really becomes landed within us. The small fingers, the pinkies, they are associated with the water element. And water is another flowing element, a little bit like air. But the beauty of water is that it can actually flow around obstacles. And we want to maintain that flow so that we can flow through our lives in that wonderful, almost seamless way. So let's begin with the gesture of tolerance. And it's simply bringing the two palms facing each other and allowing the tips of the thumbs to touch. The tips of the first fingers, the middle fingers, and now the ring fingers, and lastly, the little fingers. And as the fingers touch, we begin to bring balance to those elements. The fire element balances into this great, wonderful sense of being here with energy, with vitality. The first finger, the index finger, brings that wonderful balance to movement, to air. And we experience a stillness in that movement. The middle fingers touching bring a balance and that deep connection to all of life around us. It connects us in with nature, with prana, life force in us and around us. And then we have the ring fingers that bring that beautiful sense of strength to the earth, stillness, stability. And then the little fingers that bring the flow through all the waters of our system, as well as the flow of our lives forward in the right direction to reach the place that we most wish to be. So holding this gesture just for a few more moments, allow yourself to come into that balance. And then, when you're ready, with awareness, begin to separate each finger one at a time, starting with the little finger, the ring, the middle, first finger and the thumb. Separate the palms of the hands. Feel the energy in the hands, the tingling, the spaciousness, and the openness of your hands, the flow of the elements through the whole body, and in connection with this beautiful earth. And you can use this gesture whenever you need, whether you're seated at home, perhaps if you travel on the train, and also when you're standing, maybe waiting for somebody or getting ready for a meeting. This is something that will really bring you into your power and strength, your empowered strength. Enjoy. And we hope to see you very soon. And do look on druyoga.com, look out for the events coming up, and in particular, that wonderful Dru Yoga course, Reimagined, in which we will go more deeply into the science and the incredible power of mudras.